Hello and welcome to Henry Willis Movie Reviews, where I take a look at films I've never seen before, others likely will have done, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the 1999 Wachowskis classic, The Matrix. Originally I was going to cover this for the release of The Matrix Resurrections, but I just didn't end up finishing it in time. I've had this recorded for quite a while now with my friend Terry. We're going to have a discussion about it that we filmed immediately after having watched it. But I had to end up releasing it at some point, so here it is. So without any further ado, let's discuss. So, just watched The Matrix for the first time.
Oh yeah, I don't even know if you liked it.
I don't know if it reached the expectations that I maybe had. They were probably too high. But I think, overall, I think it's pretty exceptional. It's a great sci-fi action film. It's funny because I said I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it the whole way through. There were two specific bits that I'd seen before. The first of which was that it was shortly after it came out. It must have been 2001 or something like that. And I had some next door neighbours and I used to go around to their house, and my friend who lived there, they had two older brothers, and one time I walked past and they were watching Halloween.
Oh right.
And I got a glimpse of the Mike Myers in the background. I was like, oh god, that's scary.
Oh, so we were really young,
yeah,
kind of stuff.
6, 7, something like that. I remember clearly that scene where he's being interrogated and his mouth just glues shut.
Oh yeah, that's quite scary.
I had nightmares from that for a long time. I remember that really, really vividly. And also, weirdly enough, 30 minutes of it was shown to us in high school during religious and moral education class. And I guess the reason for it was because we were discussing philosophy and René Descartes and the whole kind of
thing for
reality and dream, etc. So we watched a bit of it to so all of that simulation stuff where Morpheus is explaining everything.
Yeah.
I saw all of that, but I didn't see any of the other bits and
the exciting bits.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I did quite like that bit,
those bits.
But those are the only bits that I'd seen of the whole film. And there were some music choices that I didn't even know were from The Matrix, where he's walking through the streets and then he sees the woman in the red dress. That's a really iconic piece of music.
Which is weird because I didn't actually remember the movie for the music. I remember liking the music, but the soundtrack didn't really become, as far as I remember. I'm here, by the way, because I'm the old guy who's actually old enough to remember when this came out. To give the perspective of what happened when it was.
Although at least this one came out during my lifetime.
Yes, at least you were alive with this one, whereas the other ones you weren't.
No.
These bits of music were so famous anyways, so it wasn't like everybody was discovering the soundtrack. Yeah, it was
Wake Up is a big song, but
but even that last one
is kind of an on-the-nose choice for the soundtrack, but it still works.
But Marilyn Manson and 9-Inch Nails and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So there were songs that if you like that kind of music, you would have known anyways.
Yeah,
so I think people who weren't to that kind of
it does really work well with the because you've got the steampunk kind of thing going on. So if you've got kind of industrial and new metal music choices, it just works really well.
I don't remember it becoming an iconic soundtrack as other movies. You remember some movies for their soundtracks.
Yeah.
Even Pulp Fiction or Kill Bill or whatever.
Yeah.
You remember the soundtrack, but that's because it's bits of music you never knew before, so suddenly it became iconic. Whereas this is all songs that people knew. I just don't remember it being the thing. Only very recently did I realize this was meant to be a blockbuster. This is Joel Silver,
Die Hard
and Die Hard and all that kind of stuff. The main thing I remembered from the marketing of that movie is that Nokia, the Nokia with a which was going to be the next revolution. Nobody bought it really. I don't think so. It was good for Nokia as the name Nokia, but that actual phone, I don't think anybody bought it. Everybody remembers the adverts because the adverts were bits of the Matrix. So that kind of put The Matrix more into the zeitgeist for that. It was a new science fiction movie that was coming out, but a lot of the general public didn't go and made a decent amount of money.
That's interesting, given because I was looking at the budget and it was quite high for the time.
Well, because it was a silver thing. I mean, at the end of the day,
I suppose
it was a passion project. These.
I was thinking because the Wachowskis they didn't really have a huge amount of cachet before.
No, they made Bound specifically to get themselves known to.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
No, yeah, Bound was made as a kind of as a showpiece. So they wrote it and they did it, and it is a proper movie.
Yeah.
But it's kind of they tried to get it made by Hollywood and all that because they made little movies and stuff. But they really went out to get a bit George Lucas tried to get, his American Graffiti and all that made so he would have the cachet to make Star Wars.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I don't know if Band was just a showpiece, but eventually they were able to say we made this, and Band was really well critically received.
Yeah.
Again, he hasn't seen Bound, never mind. But they got money and they got that big a producer mostly because they showed that they could work in Hollywood. Yeah, I mean, it is surprising how big a budget they got.
I was interested because I can't remember who it was. I can't remember if it was Lily or Lana. I think it might have been Lana because she seems to be the more vocal of the two of them. I remember them saying that it was, I think this was pretty recently, this was only the last year or 2 years where they said that The Matrix was an allegory for being transgender. Seeing it, I can completely see that because, especially with the designs of what they call the Sentinels, it's very phallic, imagery. I thought that was the representative of the patriarchy and trying to conform and what have you. And I thought that was quite interesting in how that obviously mirrored what the two of them were going through,
it's kind of living in the reality that you're looking at, being
exactly
reality, but you're actually in your own reality. This is not what it should be. Kind of. So I mean, I can see that. I mean, in Band, it's a lot more.
Well, I mean, that's a lesbian.
It's a lesbian movie.
Film,
so it's all about and. We'll talk about that another time because
I'm sure you've got a lot to say on that.
Well, it's because it's a film noir sent up. So it's great because I know about film noirs. This doesn't have many elements of
not at all.
Except the agents are very film noir. The main thing of the film noir is actually based on the patriarchy and men actually trying to go against the patriarchy to prove that it cannot be beaten. So it's men who actually do something that they know they will not get away with, and they don't want to get away with because they want the system to work. So that's why they get easily betrayed by the women or whatever, because the women are outside. They want to be inside. They'd rather lose to prove that the patriarchy works than win against the patriarchy, because at the end of the day. So that's the whole thing of the film noir. And I thought Smith, wanting to get away from it, but still being part of it, that is very film noir.
I noticed that aspect. Also, the other two agents are crap. They do nothing throughout the whole film. They just sit there and watch Agent Smith do his stuff. And then at the end, a spoiler where, he gets obliterated or whatever, they just stand there and go,
oh shit.
And then just run off. It's
But that's because Smith should have been like them as well. They are what the agents are supposed to be, kind of no reaction, whatever. They're just supposed to do their job. Smith of goes off the rail.
Right, so he's basically like an AI. But the others
he's not supposed to be. He's supposed to be like them. He just takes more and more. He actually takes more of a personality than he's supposed to. Which is why I'm saying it's more like a film noir. It's the man who's supposed to follow the rules suddenly decides, no, let's test the rules and see what happens.
Screw the rules, I have money.
Because that whole thing when he takes his earpiece off and all that, he's not supposed to do that. And when they see him without his earpiece, they're like, what the hell is he doing? He's not supposed to do that.
Okay, that makes sense. Because I was wondering, just what are you doing?
Yes.
Where,
that he's way off the reservation. And in the other movies, you see even more because he's literally the last agent left, and he kind of like he's.
But I've heard that the other ones.
Oh, they're awful.
Crap.
Which is a shame. We didn't even dream in those days. They didn't.
I mean, the way it ends, like it's like. No, that's it. Like you don't need anything more than
there
that.
was no noise of a sequel. Nobody wanted a sequel because it ended perfectly.
Yeah.
So
because I've heard like there's like bits of the second one which are very good, but then the third one is just irredeemable.
The third one goes more into the mythology and all that, so it kind of like goes all the way to it.
Right.
But the actual plot is awful.
Oh, okay.
And the second one, there are some good action pieces.
Yeah, I've seen all the set pieces and stuff, like with the multiple Agent Smiths.
Yeah.
That looks like pretty.
It's
cool.
fine, but it's really long. There's so many fights with him and Agent Smith. It's just like it's never ending. Like they thought, oh, this looked cool in the first one. Let's have loads of that. So the second one is like 30% is just him and Agent Smith fighting with like even more. But the CGI. I was surprised how well the special effects held up in this.
Yeah, I mean there were some that looked a bit, a bit.
When they're climbing on walls and
questionable.
stuff, even the bit with the sentinels and all that, they looked perfectly fine.
But yeah, like a lot of that stuff was pretty good.
But the one thing I was going to say, the one thing we all remembered, like in Britain, out of seeing this. Is that the girl with the white rabbit?
Yeah.
She was in Neighbours or Home and Away.
That's what I was going to say, because like obviously because you told me that it was filmed in Australia, which I didn't know,
and there's no Australian
actors. Basically all like filmed in Australia, and I wondered, is that why they got Hugo Weaving?
That's the thing I don't know.
I don't think that he was like, because I was looking at his filmography, and like before that he was only really in Australian films.
Well,
and even after that, like he went off to New Zealand to do Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, but
isn't that far away?
He done Priscilla.
Yeah, but that's an Australian film.
Yeah, fair enough, but it was like international.
Yeah.
And obviously. He did Babe, which kind of got an Oscar.
Yeah, but that's an Australian film as well.
Yeah, fair enough, but he was still. What I'm saying, he wasn't just famous in Australia.
No, but like he was just doing like projects in Australia.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like. He didn't just go off to Hollywood to
No.
Make
so I was always thinking like, did they get him because he was in Australia and he was good?
That must be the reason, because it was just like, we're looking for good Australian actors that because they're local and stuff. But I don't know why, like out of all the actors that they could have taken, it would have been like Keanu Reeves, even though he does like. No, that's the thing. I'm not a Keanu Reeves fan in general. I think that he's quite a mediocre actor, but he's very well cast in this.
That's it. When he's cast for what he can do, he's great.
Because he's just supposed to be like an empty vessel.
Yeah.
To have stuff like plugged in, and he just looks like I don't want to be like rude, but he does look like
blank.
Yeah, like it feels like he's a blank slate that you can just do whatever with.
So it was gonna be a big blockbuster, like a big actor vehicle. Because like we were talking earlier on, it was supposed to be a Will Smith vehicle.
Well, yeah, that
and
he went and did Wickedy Wild Wild West,
which is great because if he'd been in this, it would have been a personality movie.
I suppose, yeah.
And there's just like
there would have probably been some quips and stuff like that, and it just.
And apart from that, they wanted everyone. They wanted Leo. They wanted Brad Pitt. They wanted Johnny Depp. I
can see Brad Pitt working. Leonardo DiCaprio.
No. And Johnny Depp again. Too much campiness.
Yeah,
like, he needed to be fairly blank for this. Yeah, Brad Pitt could have.
Brad Pitt, I think, would have been cast.
And they were running out of famous men so much that their next idea was going to a very famous woman rather than going to an unknown man.
Oh, okay.
So the next on the list was actually, because he was kind of a friend of hers from Speed, was going to be Sandra Bullock.
Really?
Like Joe Silver, like new.
Okay.
Yeah, and at the time she'd just done that movie The Net as well. So she was kind of known as, she'd just been like what do you call it, like a hacker. Like a tech geek or whatever, so it wouldn't have been too far-fetched. So, and then they ended up going, I don't know, that I haven't read, but I'm thinking is like, oh, she was just in a movie with some guy. If we can't get Sandra, let's get the guy that was with her. I haven't read anything. I was trying to look for stories at how.
What? That was how it happened? Because they were like, oh, they were in Speed together. Let's look at that guy.
But yeah, I don't know if that's the way it happened. But Pantalone and Carrie Ann Moss ended up together in Memento.
Literally. Yeah.
So there's
I knew
a lot
that they
of
were in Memento. Yeah.
connections here and there. And Pantalino was, I think, he's the kind of muse for the Wachowskis because he was in band. So it just did not feel like a blockbuster big actor vehicle. Like
I suppose,
you know, they were like actors that you kind of knew.
And I mean, the only real kind of big, in inverted commas, actor in it is Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah,
that's it.
And even at the time, he was kind of like famous for having been in cool projects and stuff.
Yeah.
But he wasn't the megastar that he became after this.
I suppose, yeah. Like he'd been in things like Boys in the Hood.
Boys in the Hood was like, but it was kind of like, you know, it was still
Event Horizon after this or before?
Again, Event Horizon was great, but nobody saw it.
Oh, right, okay,
so
fair enough.
He wouldn't have been famous from that. But yeah, which is why, like, the most exciting thing for a lot of British guys was to get to see that girl from Home and Away or Neighbours, wherever she was from, because we all thought she was really sexy.
That's funny.
And, like, literally, I remember seeing it. The first time I saw it with, like, a bunch of girls that I knew. So we didn't have the same kind of like stuff like boys reference.
Yeah.
But then I watched it again on video, and the first thing every guy said in the room, oh, it's the girl from Home and Away. That was the most exciting thing about that movie for British people.
Seeing an actor from a soap opera.
Because like we'd only seen Keanu Reeves a couple of times. Kind of knew Lawrence Fishburne. Hugo Weaving was cool. Again, I knew Priscilla, but that wasn't a big budget, blockbuster movie either. So for a lot of the public at large, most of these people were fairly unknown, except for Keanu.
No, I mean
but that bit when Switch, spoiler alert, when Switch gets unplugged, gets me every time. Even though we don't know her that well or whatever, but she's such a cool character, and just the way she goes, and when she says, "No, not like this," just like. Every time it gets me, and I know it's coming, and it still gets me.
Yeah, I feel like if Will Smith was in
it,
they would have added like a, she's being switched off pun or something.
Yes. It would have been. Although, if we had a Will Smith from Enemy of the State,
I suppose
it could have worked. So he can do serious. It's just lately. The movie that he did instead of this was Wild Wild West, which is just quips a go-go.
And like him doing the theme song and stuff. Like, imagine that in The Matrix.
Oh, God. He would have wanted to do a rap of The Matrix. Yes, it would have been a very different movie. And it's not like it hurts like it would have made a little bit more money at the time, but I don't think
it wouldn't have had the
commercial
impact. No. Definitely not.
It was a kind of more of an experiment when you went to see this. It's like, this is supposed to be really good, and we've seen the advert for Nokia. But
so were the influences like as obvious as they are now? You know, looking at it in hindsight, you can clearly see like the influence from anime. Like you've got lots of Akira and Ghost in the Shell in there, particularly the whole.
That's when I saw the Sentinels. The Sentinels are the same ones as in Ghost in the Shell.
Oh, are they?
Yes. That's where I'd seen them before. And I didn't know anime at the time that much.
Ah, right, okay.
So
that's what I'm saying. Like, were people kind of like aware, or whether it's like, wow, this is groundbreaking and original? Wow,
it really was kind of.
There's a lot of
martial arts even though I know as well. But the thing is that this was the first one that did this.
Really?
Like, in a way, like in the West, like everything that you see now, aren't copying anime. They're copying The Matrix. Like the slow-mo kind of thing, they were the first ones to do that. Like Bullet Time. Bullet Time is from The Matrix. It became so big that you had lots of stuff on TV on how they made it. The way they actually made the circular Bullet Time is literally 100 Canon real cameras,
Yeah.
like digital cameras, taking pictures all at the same time around him.
Yeah, yeah.
So they had a picture of him at all angle, and they could actually move between the pictures.
Wow.
There was no other way. There was no digital cameras at the time.
Yeah, I suppose.
So no, this is groundbreaking. Like everything that you've seen since then that looks like the Matrix.
So that stuff was all in camera. That wasn't visual effects.
No,
Obviously, like the actual like visualization of like the bullets going like woo and like that sort of stuff.
Yeah. No, but the way the 3D mapping of a person they
Yeah.
didn't have at the time. That came for the second movie. They had that and they used it to death, and it looked awful. But but no, at this time, this is like everything that you see there was brand new to most people. Like it was like everything that you see now. Oh, they've got the same inspiration as the Matrix. No, it's the Matrix. So they might be inspired by anime, and I guess now that I just suddenly remember the Sentinels. So this was groundbreaking, more for like a technical kind of thing.
I can see that.
So this was more why
Like
it became
James
famous
Cameron's.
for. Yes. This was more what it became famous for than than the actors, or like the story was cool and everything else. But like cinema wise, it's just like, oh wow, this is cool. Like the bullet time was incredible. Like we were all wow.
It still looks pretty
And it
great.
still looks good because it's an actual it's film. Because I mean, it is very Ghost in the Shell at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I actually remember seeing Ghost in the Shell. It actually reminded me of the Matrix. And I didn't realise, obviously.
You had to check, like, oh wait, when was this made?
Yeah, but it never kind of came to me. It's like, actually, oh shit, that's where the Matrix is actually inspired from. Everybody was doing bullet time. I remember there was like something like National Lampoon or something. They did everybody. Every comedy show was doing bullet time. So
It's a shame that they didn't live up to
we'll
the
see what
promise of that film.
we'll see what the fourth one is doing.
Well, I mean, that's only Lana Wachowski. Like, Lily's not involved in it at all. Like, she's been like, well, good luck.
Yeah, we've done that.
I'm doing my own thing.
Their TV show was good. It was a bit.
What, Sense8?
Yeah, Sense8 was alright.
Yeah, I haven't seen that, but I've heard Cloud Atlas, like, ambitious. But
but it's that book. It's like a 900-page book full of like pseudo psychology and philosophy and all that, and it's just like like the Tree of Life or something. It's just. Or what's the other one? With the one where Hugh Jackman is like in a parallel world and he's watching the tree. Is that the Tree of Life?
The Fountain?
Yes.
The Aronofsky film?
Yes, that's the same kind of like pseudo Buddhist whatever thing that is kind of like, oh god. Jupiter Ascending is silly, but it's fun.
Okay, I'll give it a watch.
You'll hate it. But again, I guess for you, that's why probably the impact for this, you need, when you saw this, when I saw this in 99, this is just like, wow, never seen anything like this. And I hadn't really seen any proper anime. I'd seen like kids animes. I hadn't seen all Akira and all that kind of stuff yet. And so this is kind of like incredible.
Yeah, I could. The only thing in it that I was like, was the romance aspect between Trinity and Neo. I was like, I really hope it's not going down that road, because that's. And then it did, and I was like, really? It kind of annoys me that it's like the default that if there's a male and a female character, they have to.
Come on. This is my hobby horse. This is like. I am the child that used to go to bed if in a movie the hero started snogging a woman because like, oh no, it's gonna get boring now.
What is this? Is this a kissing book?
So it's been my hobby horse since I was like 8 years old.
Yeah.
So my favourite types of movies.
It's a good thing it happens near the end then.
Yes. This one was fine because you knew it was happening. I guess in those days that was inevitable anyways.
Well, that's my thinking. It's just like, well, they had to include that probably because the studio were like, You should
Yeah.
do that, like, you know.
But at least it's not over the top. It's just like one kiss and kind of like.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and it's not
you
really
don't have-
like
yeah.
brought back afterwards.
No.
There's not this kind of shot of them together. Oh, and we were going to take over and save the world together and all that.
You're not going to like the third one then.
Oh, for God's sake! It goes down that road.
The third one is all about that.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to hate that.
Yes. The third one is how their love is transcendental and it will save the world and all that kind of crap. They like, and there's this whole scene where they're saying goodbye. It's just like, just get on with it. Although in the second one, it's the only bit that's interesting. It's kind of the evolution of that because it kind of evolves quite well. Like they start caring for each other a lot and everything. But in the third one, it's just literally like the transcendentality of their love and how it will save everything.
Oh, that sounds so wanky.
Yeah. It's Matrix 3. It's like Matrix 2 is basically Matrix with the Ewoks. It's basically
What?
Yeah. Because Zion is basically
What, like in
City.
comparison to Return of the Jedi, or like there are literally like Ewok-like.
No, it's comparison. Like,
oh right, okay, I see.
like the way that Zion is formed, and then when they celebrate.
Oh, so they do actually go to Zion.
Yeah. The whole second one is set in Zion.
Okay.
And at one point they do a big celebration in a cave. And I'm not joking.
The end of Return of the Jedi.
The drums, they start playing the drums with like kind of like hairy sticks and stuff, and it is the tune from the Ewoks. And everybody starts going. And literally in the movies, I was like, it's the Ewoks. Because I wasn't sure about the movie until then. God. I was like, is this good? This is Matrix. It's supposed to be good. Is this good? Is it not good? And then when the Ewoks came out, I was just like, it's awful. Please.
Probably what people thought when they were watching the Star Wars prequels, like, this is Star Wars, it should be good. Like, I really like how it looks. Like the cinematography is really interesting, and you know this kind of like grisly green that just completely infects the screen. I thought that really kind of added to like the griminess of everything, which you know this whole steampunk aesthetic.
The aesthetics is really good. Like no point when you think, what the hell is that shot?
And it's interesting because the same, I can't remember their name, like they've also worked like several times with Edgar Wright in like his past 3 films, like Scott Pilgrim and Baby Driver, The World's End. I was just the cinematographer for the Matrix.
Oh right,
yeah. But didn't do
Scott Pilgrim. I can see because there's a lot of references to the Matrix.
Lot of that.
Now that you've seen the Matrix, you get all the references.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, there's so much of that in that, and even in talking about Edgar Wright in Spaced, the TV show that he did, there was so many pop culture references, and there's this one episode where you have like Agent Smith types.
Would you come with us, please?
Where you going?
Would you come with us, please?
No, I'm all right here.
And the whole time I was watching it, just didn't get it at all.
Right, yeah.
Because I'd never seen The Matrix. And I was like, fair enough.
That's the thing. To understand a lot of modern movies, there's like 4 or 5 movies from like the 80s and 90s that you must have seen, or even silly things like Home Alone. Like, you haven't seen Home Alone, there's a lot of jokes from movies that make reference to that. A lot of stuff that make references to John Hughes movies.
Well, he did write Home Alone, so it makes sense.
As well, yeah. But I mean, they're very good cultural references. So yeah, I guess it's the same stuff. But I guess it is all John Hughes, yeah. And things like Terminator and The Matrix and all that just really, like, if you haven't seen these movies, there's a lot of reference. You don't even realize they're references.
Yeah, I suppose so. It really holds up well. I don't think the acting has to be good. The performances don't dictate having any particular backstory or anything. All of the actors, they serve a purpose.
Yeah, and they
to
do their
propel
job.
the plot.
But none of them look
But they
false
do,
or anything.
they do their job
their jobs
perfectly well. Even Keanu Reeves.
Morpheus and Pantolina are above the rest because they're
of course
really
they're much better actors. Yeah.
And Hugo Weaving's a good actor, but he does like this character and that, and it's perfect.
Yeah.
The first time we saw it, the voice was kind of like what is he trying to do? But now it's such a part of the Matrix, which is such a part of the psyche, that is kind of like, you could not imagine it any other way.
Yeah, there's like a kind of uncanny valley type of. This sounds kind of weird. The way that he's enunciating and everything.
Yeah.
Like, it feels slightly robotic, but
I guess that's what he was going for. But
well, yeah. I mean, it makes sense.
I've been basing it on something else, but I've never managed to find what he was trying to reference. So maybe it's just his own thing. That was a little bit jarring the first time, but then by the time the end of the movie comes, it's fine.
Yeah.
But the first time you hear him, you're like, what's he doing? Especially I knew Hugo Weaving from Priscilla Queen of the Desert.
It's very
kind of like
film.
what? Okay, what? No, so this is it. Cultural milestone, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's a shame that it got ruined by the follow-ups, but...
Well, that's the thing Quentin Tarantino said. He maintained that since he's been a director, the best film that's been released was Battle Royale, and number 2 was The Matrix. And then everything else was just like interchangeable. Like there was no real place. But the sequels then subsequently made him change his opinion. He was like, I still think it's one of the best, but it's not number 2.
Battle Royale 2 is awful.
No, I'm talking about The Matrix.
Oh, even The Matrix, yeah. But even Battle Royale follow-up's not good.
I've not seen the sequel to Battle Royale.
Oh, it's just not good. Because they're trying to do Matrix stuff as well. They're trying to get out, and they're trying to change the world.
Okay.
So they're trying to start a revolution in the real world kind of stuff.
But
so
the concept is, fantastic. Like, I love the way that the Matrix is kind of depicted, like in the film. Like, I think it's.
Oh yeah, that thing is now iconic.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Because everybody had the screensaver from Windows. They actually did an animated an animated. So everybody, you went to somebody's office and they had the Matrix animated screensaver, and like that was the thing. So, but yes, so there we go.
So what would you give it out of 10?
Oh, now there's a few things. At the end of the day, there are a few bits that feel kind of like cheapish. And as you say, the acting, even at the time, it's kind of like, it looked like a bit kind of like done with a bit of string kind of stuff. And some of the acting is so, I've never given a 10 to a movie, but I'm not going to give it a 9 because of that, because it's not a perfect movie. It's a great movie and it does the job of what it's supposed to do, so I'm going for an 8.
See, I would give things a 10, so I think I'd probably plump for a 9, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's as close to a 9, yeah. I mean, it's an 8.5.
I mean, an 8.5 is a 9.
Yeah,
just like rounding it off.
Pushed it, but I don't know if it's because of nostalgia or whatever else, but it is, having seen it now.
I mean, I don't have any nostalgia for it, and I thought it was excellent.
But having seen it now...
With that caveat of unnecessary, romantic kind of plot detail. But I recognise that kind of has to be in there in order to prepare.
Yeah, and it's not really...
Story.
It doesn't really kind of...
It's just like 1 minute of the film. So
I'm really weird at marking stuff, because I'd rather mark a little perfectly well-made movie like that Swedish one that we saw. With the schoolgirls.
Yeah, fucking Amel.
Or even the one with the Jewish celebration, all shot in the one house.
Oh yeah, Shiver Baby. Yeah.
See, those kind of things, I'm almost for like a 9 and a 10, because to me, they're perfect. It's kind of like, they're not great movie, they're not great budget, but every single little thing, the dialogue's perfect.
It just works, yeah.
Just every little bit. So with this is more risky, so I'm...
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I should really, because a lot more work went into this. My way of marking movies is kind of weird. But for like blockbusters, I never gave like that high. But this is as high I would give to any blockbusters, really.
Okay, fair enough.
And Joel Silver, some of his favourite movies are actually... It's the same director who said Kiss Kiss Bang Bang and The Nice Guys.
Shane Black.
Those are as high to me as this, because again, they're perfect. It's just
Kiss Kiss
the
Bang Bang is a great film,
films,
though.
it's just like
Yeah.
Kiss Kiss Bang is even better than the Nice Guys. No, it's like as a blockbuster, it's probably one of the best.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
But yeah, so there we go.
Yeah.
That was
So-
The Matrix, and it was good.
So hopefully in future, not anytime soon, we'll probably be doing like other videos like this whenever we have a chance to meet up, whenever that may be.
Yes.
Either in on webcam or in Thailand. Who knows?
Yes. Let's do a whole thing in Thailand.
Yeah, let us know what you thought of the film in the comments. See you all soon.